It is now 16 minutes after the hour, and we officially commence our house guest discussion for today, the 23rd of October 2025. Once again, a pleasant good morning to you, Mr. Satchell. As always, I am very delighted to have you join us, especially when you have presented such delicacies as well,
Thank
for me to
you.
provide my feedback. And I can just say, welcome back to the program. And again, it's always a pleasure. How does it feel to be back in Sofa and involved once again in the Creole celebrations?
Well, thank you for having me back, and it's nice to be back. Actually, I never left. Actually, just kind of in and out, but I'm always around. And of course, one will not want to put myself in any conversation. So let's just stick to what I know. I am a I'm a British chef, living in St. Lucia for 20 plus years, and cooking with love.
Nice. We did witness on a Saturday an initiative put on by the SRDF dubbed a Creole cooking competition, and you were afforded an opportunity as well to be one of the judges on that panel.
Okay.
It's often a difficult task when you're placed, with such um,
Responsibility. Responsibility, like I say.
responsibilities.
Yeah, as a head
And
judge, I would
everybody
think.
wants to be the winner,
Yeah,
unfortunately. And there were a lot of hard critics and a lot of lessons
yeah.
to learn coming out of that. You mind sharing that whole experience with us, please?
Well, I think everyone was a winner first and foremost because by having an opportunity to showcase and being on a platform where people are watching you around the world and in your community, it takes a challenge already in itself. So everyone who contributed as winners. Clearly, we have to have one individual winner. And what I was looking for was recognition of the creativity as well as our traditional dishes, but how do we develop it to another level that we can attract more international and regional audience? So while it was quite challenging, um, as a chef, I was looking for those skill sets, but equally, I was looking for the fact that there was an authenticity in its flavor. I'm saying, and I think the winner, rightly so, from a term of presentation and creativity, was the right person. That being said, though, I think everyone did well, and I think we must commend SRDF for this initiative because I think these are the kind of things we need to recognize that St. Lucia, we have Junior Creole every year, but actually I like to think Junior Creole is every day and it should be year round. The fact that we celebrate once a year, that's the point we make, but actually we should be highlighting our Creole highlights, our festivals, our cuisine, our culture as a daily factor because people come from around the world to celebrate and enjoy the benefits of our culture, which is called Creole.
For you, again, as one of the chefs, what really stood out for you most about the creative pieces?
Well, I think one of the things that they also did, I mean, people who don't know about Creole cooking in St. Lucia, the fact that we have to use a coal pot, it's a skill. It's not just a case of like you put a coal pot in the stove and you bring it to heat. You have to manage the timing because you can't turn the fire down. Once you take the coal pot off the stove, it's still cooked, it's still hot. So it is a skill set which I thought was very well executed by all. Again, like I said, I mean, people using the preparation of cutting their vegetables and how they're seasoned and everything else was quite interesting. I mean, again, as a chef, I saw some things that I would do differently, of course, but clearly, I think to retain the cultural feel, and again, what commended me as well, what I recognized as well, was that people of young age, okay, that young age is what we will retain our local flavors. I think today we're using too many, let's say, other ingredients and other foods to represent our islands. I remember some years ago, somebody asked me what's the national dish of St. Lucia, and I dare not say what the person said, but it wasn't very, you know. So I think these kind of events are a way to recognize and actually keep those cultural ideas alive.
Also, events like these, do you really see it helping, to preserve or even elevate St. Lucia's Creole standards?
Well, I think so. I mean, ultimately, it's really a way to, I've been here for a few years now, and one of my biggest complaint before when I got here, and was that we need to get more local chefs in position of executive positions, running hotels, running restaurants. These kind of ideas are ways to sort of get them to understand the flavor of responsibility. You're not in your professional kitchen. What you are in is an environment which needs you to manage. So I would say these competitions are a stepping stone to your next level. Obviously you may enjoy that thing, and then they said, "Oh, you know what? Let me go and look at culinary school. Maybe look at an idea of going to a restaurant or a hotel." So this is a good stepping stone to start that ball rolling. It does give you a sense of responsibility, a sense of management, a sense of food safety. Again, also gives you a sense of audience in your face, because the people around them, and you have to still prepare their food as they go along. So, but before I continue as well, I want to give a big shout out to one of our local guys. As I said, they saw one competition in the BVRs, Elijah Joseph, I think, from Jade Mountain. I am a chef, and by all accounts, it's not about just me as an individual. We are about St. Lucia and Soufriere. And when one of us win, we all win. And I think, I didn't know much about the competition until I read it to the media. But I will give him his compliment, because I think he takes a challenge to go overseas and represent and come back as a winner. So I think kudos to him as a young professional. And of course, I was big up Soufriere, really, because his contribution, his win for Jade Mountain is a big win for our community, Soufriere.
Which is true. And even conversations we've had off the record, you did embrace this initiative by the foundation and believe it should be continued.
Absolutely. It's something I like to finish it the first, and we have it a yearly event. And I like to think that more people take part in it and see and bring their best to the table. I think even the dessert, the girl who came second did an amazing dessert, which using avocado, and almost like a creme caramel. I mean, again, very creative initiative. So again, like I said, everyone is a winner in this competition. And again, we like to commend SRDF for this idea. And I think, again, I look forward to them reaching out to me again next year. And we would definitely love to take part as a judge and make sure that we retain this concept as a yearly event.
And even as the various, competitors put on their display, what areas you really would have highlighted for improvement?
Well, again, I think for me personally, I think the color, the presentation, I'm not saying it, but most people were using calabashes, which is, while it's good to use calabash as a traditional thing, from a time of putting on a table, it's roll around. So you've got to think about, okay, if I'm going to use a calabash, how can I make sure it's stable? You know what I'm saying? Those kind of simple ideas. Also, a bouillon is a beautiful dish when you enjoy it, but presentation-wise, cooked down, it doesn't carry that presentation look. So a little more peppers, a little more seasonings, those kind of things are important to elevate.
Thank you. You've got quite a bit lined up. Exactly. You have live cooking coming up. You also have that trip to St. Martin as well. Share the love, STL, definitely.
Well, the thing is, right, ultimately, my role as a chef and a restaurant owner is to retain the idea that I'm running a business. But in the running the business, there's opportunities that present itself to showcase the Caribbean cuisine, which I think it should be the best in the Caribbean. The best cuisine in the Caribbean should be Caribbean. The best cuisine in the Caribbean cannot be the best Italian, the best French, the best whatever. We represent the Caribbean region, whether it be St. Lucia, St. Martin, wherever. I think in Barbados, there's the Food and Wine Festival coming up just now in Barbados. In St. Martin, they have a gastronomy program where they do, 8 days. I'm invited as one of the guest international chefs from represent St. Lucia. And while I say represent St. Lucia, I go with represent St. Lucia as Chef Orlando. I'm not being sent by St. Lucia, if that being said. I'm representing the island of St. Lucia as a chef, but in my capacity as Orlando's. But in that being said, this is the second year they've invited me to the event. It's really a great event because the event cleverly does, it invites international chefs to come out and taste the food of St. Martin, and then we give scoring points to rate the best restaurants on the island, which I think is a very, very clever way. And I think if you look at the top 50 restaurants in the Caribbean, none of them are from St. Martin. So it clearly, we in St. Lucia need to look at ways that we can do a gastronomy event, I've been saying it for a while. We have no culinary major event in St. Lucia at the moment. And we have our jazz festival, we have our carnival, I have all these events. And hopefully someone who heard this conversation would reach out and say, listen, I've got an idea, because I've got a few ideas. I think that we should be doing a our own event in St. Lucia, which represents gastronomy of some sort.
Okay. Noted. What can people expect from this event as well? Will it feature local ingredients or even have a Creole twist to it?
Say again?
What is expected from that event, the gastronomy?
Well, the gastronomy event in St. Martin is really about highlighting the cuisine of St. Martin, giving those international chefs there the opportunity to shine and showcase their cuisine. I think here in St. Lucia, we need to find a vehicle of that sort to create here in St. Lucia. We did the Roman Food Festival some years ago, but I think we need to come up with a vehicle. And I've got a few ideas that we can elevate our cuisine and our local cuisine and our culture, and have reasons to come to St. Lucia. Apart from the sea, the sand, and the hotels, we have our cuisine. So maybe there's an event we need to come up with an idea. I think this is also going to help the islands. Look at St. Lucia. We are one of the few islands that grows so much local ingredients. We have such amazing abundance of vegetables and things. I'm surprised that we have not actually put anything on the map yet to use. And of course, the way St. Lucia is positioned as a hotel destination. I like to think that we're more than just a hotel destination. We are a hotel destination. We are a tourist destination. We're also a restaurant destination. So that's the vision anyway.
On culinary inspiration, of course, you've been a big advocate for Caribbean cuisine on the international stage. What continues to inspire that journey?
Well, the thing is right about inspiration is that I remember when I started cooking from Army as a young boy, I've always watched TV and said, well, where is the face of the Caribbean? I don't see much of that. So it's been my long life passion to bring Caribbean cuisine to more international recognition. I guess at my age now, they call me the Godfather, which a friend of mine from the New York Times labeled me that way. It means that I'm getting old. So I'm looking forward to the young people to come up and take on the responsibility of that showcasing the cuisine. What inspired me is the opportunity to keep showing it off, the cuisine. I've also been invited to Brussels to do a 1 week of my menu for an international audience in Brussels. Again, it's something with the Caribbean Chambers of Commerce in Europe. This is my third year of attending this event, which is again an opportunity to showcase our Caribbean cuisine. Again, all these initiatives are without any, so to say, support from St. Lucia, but of course, you do what you do in the interest of the promoting our cuisine. And so again, I'm looking forward to do that in the coming weeks as well. I think St. Lucia needs to kind of highlight that we are a unique island, and our journey around. I mean, this time last year I was in Dubai, and I know that Dubai is an amazing location, but trust me, we are St. Lucian. We will retain our greens and our lands to make it simple. And what I love about traveling is that I can come back. Oh, now you look at me like, are you going to close the door on me?
How do you balance everything? And with that being said, we have the support of your number one, Cha 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 Baby.
Yeah, well, the Cha 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 Baby is, even when you go out, you still have to have home to go back to. So that's the Cha 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 Baby. But when I talk about support, we're talking about the support of my team in the restaurant. I'm not able to go and travel without a solid team. So I will definitely give a shout out to my chef Andrina from Deriso, because I'm always getting a location where she's from. But all the way from Deriso, she comes all the way from Deriso to come and be my chef in the kitchen. And I've just taken another young lady as well, but coming in. So the team, Miss Leo, and of course, all the staff who are really the backbone of keeping the restaurant going. I mean, we're still in a quiet season, to say. Well, we're still in a season where we're not back up yet. But I believe in the next week, next month or so, we'll be busy, as I say. The fact remains, you need a strong support. I'm Chef Orlando. My name is Orlando, but I'm not the restaurant. The restaurant is a team, and the team is really where we build from. Yes, that's my name, but ultimately, when I leave, I don't take the restaurant with me. I leave a team of people who deliver, and hopefully deliver the experience of showcasing Caribbean cuisine. So that's the fun part of it.
We have Lyndon Wissot. Sounds like a great idea. And then continued saying, awesome. Sounds like a great idea. Yes.
Well, the ideas are simple. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. I think ultimately, when I come to speak with you on the programs, I really also love the idea that we recognize our food vendors. I am a great supporter that food vendors are the backbone of our communities, and we'll be hosting our 12-year event at the restaurant to elevate and give back to the community of the food vendors. Where I'll be hosting a lunch, which is our 12th year of doing that now. We invite as many food vendors as I can to have a complimentary lunch on behalf of the restaurant, just to say thank you for their contribution and the effort, and also to see those charming ladies dressed up. It's always nice to see them dressed up. But I think I would love more communities to invite and give back to food vendors an opportunity to showcase. So anyone listening to these programs, I think, is a great idea. The 13th of December is usually our national day. Not much really occur, in my opinion. I think we could really call the 13th December National Vendors Day, where we recognize our food vendors. How many of you guys have passed a food vendor, and then you say, oh, great, the person is giving you coconut water or giving you vegetables, and then come back, and the person's not there. You wonder where the person is. The person is sick, or the person has passed away. You probably don't know the name, but you walk past them every day saying, oh, coconut lady or breadfruit lady, but you don't even know who they are until one day you go past and are there. How many of us do we recognize that the food vendors are being the backbone beyond those people in position right now? A lot of our school teachers and mothers and people in position have come up through the ranks of the vendors getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, selling vegetables. I think there's an opportunity to really give those people some acknowledgement. It's not when they pass, you stand over the grave and say, well, I thank you. Give them their flowers now. That's my point.
Definitely. With that being said, Lyndon commented, Orlando used to be my head chef, one of my main inspirational chef. You just received your flowers, yes?
Thank you. Well, Lyndon, was one of my young chefs back in the UK. We're talking about 30 years ago now, 40 years ago. Wow. Yeah, thank you.
What advice would you give to young chefs or even aspiring cooks hearing so frank? Because we see everything tends to lead to a competition. Nobody wants to see that other person excel.
Well, the thing is right about being a chef is first and foremost, is it a job you're looking for or passion? At a certain time of life, you got to decide. Don't chase money, chase life. What is chasing life? Chasing your passion. I tell you, if you're good at your passion, they will pay you for it. You'll get paid for it, not straight away, but it takes time to build. I'm looking for young people who want to cook and who want to be inspired to cook. Not just a case of, oh, we're going to cook because I need money. Because you want to share. There is two kinds to my conversation. Food is what you eat because you're hungry. Cuisine is an experience you share. And once you're in the position of trying to share the experience, a shared cuisine experience, you can knock on my door. One of the things I did this year was really I'm looking at a program eventually to try to create some sort of school program where persons will come to me, young people will come to me and spend some time in my kitchen, and we're trying to teach them how to basic stuff. One of the challenges down the road I've seen is that many of our young cooks, they can tell you how to make a sauce or something, but they don't even know their kitchen equipment. This is no sly on nobody. It's the reality that someone say, pass me that thing with the holes in it, which you don't know the name of it. What we're trying to do is say to the young cooks, first, know your tools, know your kitchen, know what is well before you then start to cook. today's world has allowed us social media, which while it's great, it also doesn't allow people to develop themselves, because what happens, they can talk very well, they present themselves well, they'll copy something, do a nice play presentation, straight away they're celebrity chef. But actually ask them to make you a bechamel or make you a sauce, and the issue behind it is very difficult. So we need to understand our basic. And I will not use the word bechamel. I'm using the French connotation of a white sauce, just in case some people start questioning it. And necessarily, it's not always about the French. It's all about us, the Caribbean. Yes, we have influences of global influences, but we must also recognize our local, regional influence too, and make sure we put it in the right place, you know?
Yes. Claudia Charlemagne, great show as usual. So proud of him and you. I must come to meet you in person next time I am in Sufre. My cha-cha-cha baby is so passionate about the Caribbean cuisine. I get a first-hand experience. Always so proud of him, watching him do his thing out there, whether in St. Lucia regionally or internationally, and getting his accolades and standing ovation. He is constantly trying to pull up the young ones or anyone that is passionate about cooking.
Well, you know, they say she knows it's been a few years now of us sharing the love, so it's all so good. And hopefully I'll see you later. And I think the vision is really about how do we take this to the next level, you know? How do we recognize our cuisine and make sure people respect the cuisine of the Caribbean? That's the point I'm making. You know, I was interested to see recently that a few three hotels got some sort of Michelin flag representation, which is a benefit to St. Lucia, but it also kind of highlights the hotels. We have chefs here who have been pushing our Caribbean cuisine or pushing our stuff. Maybe we should look at an idea. How do we make sure we put our cuisine out there, make sure people recognize the Caribbean cuisine, you know what I'm saying? And we raise our standards. This is where I am really thinking about the ideas there. But like anything else, you know, it starts with passion. It starts with self-belief that you're doing something correct. And I must say that, you know, people that I meet along the way, and even my friend Lyndon there, we're talking about 35 years ago. I like to think that I may have had a little salt or a little spice to somebody's life that they remember me. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So thanks, Lyndon, for all those who remember what I'm trying to do. But the mission is not over. We're still on the mission. And it's not mission impossible. It's mission possible if we work together.
With your many accolades and traveling all over the world, sharing culinary experiences, what would you like to change right here in Sofre? I know again we've had discussions where you wish that they would come, where all restaurateurs would unite, or even maybe have like a food expo or even an app, you know.
Well, you know, the thing is, right, you know, I have a few ideas, and I don't want to give away too much thing, because when I realize I share, then people run away, and then before I realize, oh, here's an idea. I'm like, okay, I know where the idea came from. But I do have a few ideas. I think there is I think Sufa, we're in a good position. You know, our hotels are internationally known. Our location keeps us, we're the first thing people see when they see St. Lucia, the pitons. You know, our community has a good sense of tourism mentality. We can always improve, of course, but I think we're on the right track. So now we need to start looking at ways to elevate the independent restaurants, because as it stands right now, I don't think we have enough collective agreement on how we can move forward our restaurants. And so I think hopefully we need to find a way to bring those small restaurants who have started out together. So that's one of my visions. I mean, I don't need from another community to tell us how we should run things in Sufa. We in the South, we've got a vision on how we do. We're not like going to Rodney Bay and the crowd out there. We're very much a much more quieter community. And so we've got to find a way to come together to link and support each other. I'm saying. So I do have a few ideas. If anybody else would get the same idea, please reach out to me. Let's talk, because I wrote a plan about I would say 10 years ago about doing some sort of plan for Soufriere, and yet I'm not able to get it off the ground just because I can't get enough people together. Maybe my friend Melissa at Gobos will be quite nice to talk with her about the idea, but it may take two of us to start the ball rolling. But whatever it takes, we need to move the ball here in Soufrière. I think the destination and the community is on brand to be the face of St. Lucia. And I think we need to make sure that when our guest comes to the community, there's a sense that they can come out at evening times, we have to lighten the town more. We need more light in the town so we can actually make people feel comfortable. I know the word safe is not necessary because, of course, like anything else, we have challenges like every other community. But I think with more light in the community, people are going to feel a bit more comfortable to come out and about and try things and give more option. That's the point I'm making. Give more option to Soufrière.
Which is true, and embracing all those ideas in the pipeline as well, and really hoping, for those restaurateurs or even hoteliers for some extent to come together. We have to look at the most important thing, which is the mindset. Before any and everything can change, it has to really do with the mentality.
Well, I think it's unfair that what we have is we have people who sometimes feel like, oh, it's all about tourism, and what about the rest of us? And tourism starts with all of us. Whether we like it or not. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, I think as an island, the fact that we put so much on tourism is a little concerning because tourism relies on people to come to you. So what we need to do is get a balance of good tourism policies, but equally good self-awareness policies, taking care of our communities, making sure when we pass around our communities, there's a sense of pride. Because the pride as a start that I'm not doing it for the tourists, I'm doing it for myself. You know what I'm saying? Again, that means that when someone's throwing garbage on the floor, don't be afraid to tell them, guys, pick it up. That's your community. It shouldn't be a fight down. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a beat down because I actually pick up something you dropped to me. So there has to be a self-awareness that this is Soufrière, this is your community, and whether you're in Palmis, whether you're in, Barons Drive, wherever you are, you have a responsibility to maintain your community. Again, it doesn't say nothing to go with the community group together and let's clean up our community. You know what I'm saying? So the community's reflection is what people see. Again, don't get me wrong, we are looking pretty good, but we can always improve. There's nothing called perfect. There's always improvements, I think from the chef's point of view, I think the program I want to get together is something I really want to put together. I said I've been here a while now, and it's kind of challenging trying to balance all the things I'm trying to do. But so I'm a chef on a mission. It's not mission impossible, mission possible.
At this time, I want to say good morning to Sheldon Lionel. It's always a pleasure to have you join us here in conversation. Yes, thank you so much for that. Mm-hmm. Not forgetting Miss Charmaine as well. Thank you. And Taiwan, thank you to you. We've seen over the years, in terms of, do you think we're getting more support now than before in terms of community wise? I know you share that love with the vendors, but then how responsive are the other businesses as well? Because Orlando this, Orlando is always in that, Orlando is always in the middle, Orlando,
And the sad reality is that I'm glad you said that because there is a sense that I'm overexposed. And people, I can step back and you guys run with it. Huh? I don't need to be there. I do what I do. Because I think in the interest of St. Lucia, in the interest of Soufrière, it's not about Orlando. The fact that I leave and I do what I do, people come to St. Lucia, they don't eat at my restaurant every night. They come to Soufrière. The fact that they may discover Soufrière because of a conversation that I have, or I've gone travel somewhere and cook somewhere, and it goes, where are you from? That's revenues for the island and the community. They have to sleep somewhere. They don't sleep in my restaurant. So, the fact remains, if anyone feels uncomfortable with my British accent because I sound more British than Lucian, that's okay. The fact remains, I have committed to do what I do. I am a business owner in the community, and my role is to manage my business the best way possible. But equally, just because I manage a business doesn't mean I am not aware of what's going on and see what's going on. I think Soufrière Foundation and the town council can come together a little more, I think. I think one of the things I will advocate for is that kind of Sufi Foundation and the town councils and different to all committee meetings where they can all meetings and invite persons, stakeholder meetings. The community of St. Lucia doesn't belong to one entity. It belongs to we, the community of all of us. And I think when events are happening, sometimes we don't hear about it. I will give a look a shout out. I just heard that we're now closing off the street in the Bayfront because of the potential business coming into Soufrière on the boats and everything else. That should be kind of something loud and shout. I shared with a few people and go, oh, we never heard that. So, and some people say, oh, well, it's going to be on a speakerphone driving around. Well, who's got time to listen to a speakerphone when you're working in Cashrees? You know what I'm saying? And come back to work, come back to Soufrière afterwards. Imagine if people will be frustrated, they turn up and go on Bay Street and then said, all of a sudden, you can't go there, you can't park there because there's some sort of thing going on. So again, there is to be, when the foundation, the council, they need themselves to come together and present a united front on the interests of Soufrière. We all have the interest of Soufrière and St. Lucia, the wider audience. And so, ultimately, persons who feel I'm getting too much exposure, there's too much lively shine on Orlando, well, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm the chef on a mission, and my role is just to cook, but I also live here, so I have an opinion. If you want a big opinion, you bring it to the table, But I don't want to sound like I'm being rash or being. Some people said, "Oh, I'm got an ego and it's all about Orlando." People, please. I just a chef who believes that I'm in the community for so long, and I want to do my part too. And just a matter of my part, if you're going to be available on Saturday, so you can then come tell me Orlando. But Saturday I'll be doing a live cooking demonstration at Massey Store to showcase again a little Creole influence. Again, just a simple tasting on Saturday.
Persons are asking for the specifics when you say Massey Store.
What's our local Massey store? The one by the big Massey store. Here in Soufrière.
Okay, you're talking about La Pearl.
La Pearl, yeah.
Okay.
Our large one, yeah.
Nice. So Sheldon.
So from 1:30.
Sheldon is asking, can you comment on the food preparation, quality and preparation at Creole Day festivals, and what do you have planned for the festival?
Well,
I was supposed to ask that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things actually, I'm going to be honest with you that I'm a chef from the UK with the parents of Caribbean parentage, and my cooking is local. I try to use as much local as possible. One thing I don't try to do is try to say I'm the Creole chef. I'm a chef who loves to use the influence of Caribbean and Creole. Usually Sundays, the Creole weekend, I tend to be closed on a Sunday because I think it's once a year that this opportunity for people to do business and other people to be mindful of. So I don't do much. At my restaurant, I will have an influence in my menu, of course, as I do every day, not just the Creole month. But really, the Creole weekend, I tend to be let it continue without me, as they say, I like to go in and try people's food. I mean, that's the time I get to try different flavors and see what's cooking and thinking, okay, I can take that and make that look more interesting in my way. But definitely on Saturday, I'll be at the Massey for a couple hours, just try to just do a simple dish with green banana and some salt fish and answer any questions I can. And hopefully people have a bit of fun, I think our Creole heritage is critically important, but I'm going to say something without people get offended. Creole is about our cooking and our heritage, but also when you serve food to people, you need to be safe. It needs to be safe. So the people who are preparing food, you need to make sure you have enough sanitizing, washing hands. If you're going to use gloves, I mean, yesterday someone talking about having the gloves, and I was saying, well, a glove only has a use if you use it once. If you're using a glove for the same 5 things, it has no value, because by all accounts, if you're serving your chicken with the gloves, then you're going to use the chicken in the same gloves. You're cross-contaminating with the gloves on. So the gloves has only value if you use it once. You're going to do something in one dish, take it up, but never pair of gloves on. That's when you have the value of the gloves. Second of all, I know that our green fig and mixed with mayonnaise, mixed with mayonnaise is where the challenge comes in, because it's about the sunshine and heat. So may I propose some of you? I'm not breaking your Creole thing, but how about using a vinaigrette with your green banana? You know what I mean? So I mean, it's more likely to last a little longer rather than the mayonnaise, because again, with the mayonnaise, you talk about the salmonella and everything else. That's critically important. Another thing as well, if you're going to bring food out there, you make sure you have in cool boxes. You can't be having chicken sitting in a warm temperature. People are going to get sick if you don't prepare correctly. As much as you're preparing for Creole, you have to make sure that you are safe, and the safety is critically important. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I put the line there with the Creole. I think it's so important that we prepare correctly.
And those are collecting the money. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. Again, you're collecting money and then you're serving food. You have to, if you intend to do an investment in this Creole weekend, make sure you have people who are taking money separate from the person takes serving the food. These are all observations that I've seen. You know what I mean? You have food sitting on the side without being covered. You have food on a low floor. These are, again, people, don't get me wrong. I don't want to say, oh, Orlando's criticizing us. I'm just observing that you're dealing with food and you're dealing with people's health and safety. And that's what we're trying to do. It's our festival. This is the one festival that we know that people go out, and we know I want to call our unofficial chefs come out and cook their food. You see?
I'm happy you spoke about that for sure. And it can put your concerns to rest, Sheldon. And I have also noticed that as well, the cross contamination, especially handling the money and handling the food and all of that sort of thing. And people refuse to speak about it as well, for sure. It's not. I have witnessed it. Right here in
You're
Sufra.
doing the bigs, you see money, you're doing the bigs, the fruit with, you have to take that,
It happens all the time, and you have to be mindful. If you're a foodie, you have to be mindful as well. And even having you here, chef, as we prepare to celebrate Juni Creole on a large scale, which is Sunday. And again, people have to be so mindful of the food preparation. They tend to prepare it the night before, or even 2 or 3 days before, because of the magnitude of what exactly they have to prepare. But people do get sick after that as well.
I'm telling you, it's not, again, we're not here to try to stop anyone from making money. That's not the issue of it. The issue is to make sure that persons who go out to eat are safe when they're eating, because they're trusting you, that you are delivering healthy food. I'm saying that's the point of the event. The event is to say we're celebrating our heritage, but we also celebrating our heritage with the correct way of preparing food, storage and again, please, I don't want people to take it, oh, Orlando, because you have your restaurant, you can do. That's not the point. That's not the issue. And again, reasons why I don't open my restaurant on the sun. This is my thing. It's about the community have an opportunity to showcase their local ideas and their fun ways of preparing the food. But critically, it's important to make sure it's safe and we have no complaints after eating the food.
Definitely. 5 minutes to the hour of 11 a.m. in Service Solution, of course, the Eastern Caribbean. Before we leave, I need to let a little my listeners know as well.
Well, before you can look a note there, I just also want a big shout out to us.
Could see this is what
that's your Creole. You gotta try it in a minute.
Yes. And it's actually an avocado salad with a nice dessert.
Let me tell you what it is, my dear. It's a simple green banana cake.
It's plated nicely, but
you gotta try it.
Could have been more.
No. The idea is that
No, I'm giving you the critics. Huh? Though you are chef, you have to accept critics as well. It should have been more colorful, like you made mention when you were doing your judging. So the criteria here, you're not supposed to leave any space when you have your plate.
Okay, let me share with you a chef opinion. Okay. 2 things. A, we as Caribbean people, I would tell people, if you can't see the bottom of the plate, there's too much food on the plate. If you cannot see the bottom of the plate, there's too much food on the plate. We are eating for essential health and wealth. We're not eating to get fat. We're not eating to get big. We're eating for a healthy product. I've given you a sample of a warm salted fish with a green banana cake. I actually put the avocado separate because I didn't want to warm the avocado. That's why it's on that way. And the dessert is actually a dessert made of a brulee, which of macambo brulee. So again, while I might like, I'm happy to take point of view, but I think the idea was that it was a simple presentation, and the idea was we must understand that many people go to restaurants and the place is packed to the hill. When I go to a restaurant, if I go to a restaurant and the place is packed, I'm already full before I start eating. So the idea of cuisine is an opportunity to share and share experience. Opportunity of food is to fill and move. And on that point as well, on that point, just to let you guys know, if you're going to be up north from the 7th to the 9th of November, we have the 18th anniversary of the St. Lucian and Taiwanese Trade Show, which again I've been involved in for the last 8 or 9 years now, doing presentations, and and this year we're introducing another component to the St. Lucian and Taiwanese Trade Show. We're adding a cooking competition to it, which will be on the 9th of November, the Sunday. And it's open to anybody who wants to call in. I'm happy to share the information with you. There's a big prizes and opportunity to be the first one. And there will be our first cook-off competition for the trade show. But the idea of the competition is that you have to come and you have to send in a picture with a recipe, so we can then choose the best 4, and the best 4 will cook on the day. And on the day, you'll have to use a little St. Lucian, Taiwanese, and one recipe, one item from the trade show to present a dish. It's a novel idea, but ultimately it's about how you can use Caribbean with a little Asian influence, and then of course something from the trade show you got to use. So looking for anybody who really wants to join the competition. And the prizes is a very big prize. I cannot tell you the number, but it's very nice. It's a good amount of money for the Christmas. So I'm sure anybody looking for an opportunity to have a Christmas bonus to go and shop, there's a financial opportunity there. But ultimately, the opportunity to be our St. Lucian Taiwanese cook-off competition will be a good opportunity. So I think that's what I really want to share there. But I do take your comments, my dear, about your food, but you've got to make sure I rushed that to make sure I give you hot food. The food is still warm. And I didn't want to warm my avocado.
I do appreciate it.
But I want you to try it in front of your audience, because you got audience there thinking you've got this nice food there. And I think, and the idea of using green banana as a... Oh, let me help you there. You seem like you're having trouble there. Yeah, you see like you're having trouble opening up there. I mean, the idea was
it's nicely plated.
It's okay. No, it's cooked.
Like you made mention, we're so used to having a plate
full with food. Yeah, and that's the idea. I'm trying to get people to understand that, at the restaurant at Orlando's, we do a 5-course tasting menu, and there is no menu. There is no menu. You come to the restaurant, we tell you the price, we ask about your dietary needs, and then we cook for you using as much local as possible. And that's the vision that I have, that we can definitely take our cuisine to the next level. If I gave you a menu, you're going to choose what you're familiar with. You'll say, oh, I want the chicken, I want that. With no menu, you will get an opportunity to try something different, and something new. And a lot of my international guests have loved that idea. So anyway, I've given you your wonderful green banana cake, with a salted fish and an avocado on the side. And of course, your dessert will go in a minute. So you get, what time is it now? 11 o'clock. Boy, you're getting your lunch, your breakfast in one, Okay. So it's really about what we call sharing the love, yeah. The idea of green banana. I mean, we can do so much more with our green banana, and of course, the salted fish combined with a little spice, a little cucumber, and keeping it simple. She's trying not to talk on live radio and live social.
What I got from the saltfish, it's almost like a salsa.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, very good. That's good. Salsa,
I know of cooking actually.
Well, I think that the vision that we're trying to do is what we can do without taste your dessert, my dear. Taste your dessert. Your dessert, because now you got a spoon there. Yeah, I say the idea is that we can use those local things in a more creative way. That's the vision that I have. You know what I'm saying? And while we as Caribbean people, we must never lose sight of our localness, even though we have international ideas. So I think this is where I'm trying to do at Orlando's.
Here I am being spoiled today by Chef Orlando.
Yeah. And again, this is a brulee. Now, this is an international dish concept, but using a local product, like this macambu. Now,
Nice.
for persons who don't know macambu, it's a middle version of you have plantain and you have banana and you have macambu. And again, the macambu is not as sweet as, but it's not that, but you have to cook it, but you can do so much more with it. And that was the vision of, again, keeping it local. See?
So,
Okay.
folks, I just had a macambu brulee, which is really, really nice. I would have to Google to find out, how I can prepare that at home.
You can't, I can't do it. Come speak to me. I'll talk.
I want to give it my own little,
Do a twist, yeah.
twist for sure, but it's really nice. We have Lyndon. That's a great idea, chef. And Sheldon did say, can you explain the difference in the taste of local and imported meat?
I'm glad you mentioned that because one of the things that we have done over the years is that I took before I took on meat. As Caribbean people, I remember some years ago, I was at a competition in the UK, in Miami, and we as Caribbean people, we wash our meat. That's the culture.
Yeah, you're supposed to with some lemon. Some
Oh, you
vinegar.
think? Well,
Yes.
you try to tell that to the European chefs. That's not the way they do things, yeah. And again, when you meet a European chef, they don't wash the meat the way we wash our meat, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, they're going to tell you, well, it takes away this, but culturally, that's what we grew up on. So for me, it's important to keep our culture alive. You know what I'm saying? So again, there is different standard that people might question how we do things in the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? I think when you have your, for instance, I buy fillet from the local guys. The local guys here in St. Lucia, they don't do the meat, but they have kind of gone there and shown them how to take out the fillet, so we get the nice local fillet. There's different flavor than the international meat. Clearly, as a chef and a restaurant, I tend to, if I have to buy international meat, I will sometimes buy chicken that's what I can get locally. If I can't get it locally, I get filet manure if I can get it locally. And even lamb these days, I'm going to be representing a company from New Zealand. But again, what I do with it is how I marinate it, how we influence the flavor of the Caribbean onto that meat, which is important. Yes, we wash our meats. Yes, we season very well. And somehow it tastes different to me, I think, but as a chef, it's about timing, how you overcook food sometimes. I always tell people, sometimes we kill it like the fish, we kill it in the ocean and immerse it in the stove. We overcook it in the stove, yeah? These are comments I share as a joke, but the reality, we tend to be sometimes overcook food because we think, we make sure it's cooked. But actually, you've actually taken away the potential of the flavor by overdoing it. So it's important to understand your balancing of cooking, know when something is cooked correctly as opposed to overcooked. If you're going to do certain fish like blue marlin, tuna, even kingfish, these are fish you just kind of season and you put in the stove for a few minutes and it'll cook so quickly you'll be surprised. Because these fish you can actually eat raw. And you go, raw, but actually you go sushi and eat it raw. You know what I'm saying? So I think how we marinate and how we season is what brings the Caribbean flavors to the table. And again, with the international meats, clearly we have to be mindful. It's about us as our influences, basically. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the traditional stuff like curry goat in itself, in its meat in itself, was a waste meat. And we took it and washed it and seasoned it and make it our national, one of our dishes of national. You talk about chicken wings. Years ago, people for chicken wings. Now it's become a little more expensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's how we take those local ingredients and make them more creative and more appealing.
Okay. Sheldon, I hope you heard these loud and clear as well. And you would have a clearer perspective with the differences of the local and of course the imported meat. My question to you actually, chef, we've seen it all the time, especially maybe even buffets or when you go to parties, whatnot. Yes, you made mention of the plate, you need to see the bottom of it. But what's about when persons would go for seconds?
I have this kind of thing. Sometimes we go to buffets, and I'm just about we as people, I think, and we pack the plate like there's no tomorrow.
Because you paid for it.
Oh, so you pack it because you pay for it? How about you pack it and go back? You can go back. We're allowed to go back, yeah? And that's one of the things that are kind of funny because we go to buffets and we think that's it. We got to pack it. And how many times you eat everything on the plate? You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, you then lose. A chef takes time to present each dish. Like if he does a selection of dishes like macaroni, chicken, a salad, anything else. How are you tasting those foods individually? You pack them all together. You're not tasting them, are you? Because you've actually packed them so high that you miss the flavor which you're tasting. You know what I'm saying? So the vision is to rather you go to a buffet, you paid for it, of course, and you didn't say go there once, unless you're on a buffet, which is a special, say, okay, well, I can only have once. You paid for it, you can go back as much time as you want to. The smart thing is to get your soups, try your soup, go to your salad, and go back as much time as you take. Unless you feel inclined too tired after eating one plate, you can't go back. And how many of you go back and try desserts after you've had main course because you're so tired, you're so full? So I would suggest persons mindfully eat smart. We're in as a certain age of life, we have to recognize that eating smart isn't wise. It's not look at where our food is coming from. Look where they're storing it. You know what I'm saying? Look at the preparation. You know what I'm saying? It's not, some people go to me, it's not everywhere I can eat from people. And I hear that a lot from our West Indian people. And I suspect that's because they're not trusting where the food is coming from. So I think you need to be mindful that you're selling business, you're selling food. Persons are coming to you because they trust you. They trust that you will deliver to them a safe and consistent food, So that's the point making. I see the AC is buffering you, eh?
A little.
Yeah.
A question for me as well. Do you think much emphasis has been placed on eating what you grow and growing what you eat, more or less?
Well,
or even fostering more local?
Well, I think COVID was a good test ground to what happens when the plane stopped flying. And I think the plane stopped flying and people had to go back to their back garden. So everything that we have in life is a test. I think that there is an opportunity to go back to producing more locally on our grounds. We can do more. We can do more. I think we can invite. The interesting when our clients come from overseas, they're so excited to taste the vegetables. Even if the vegetables come from somewhere, it tastes fresh in where they come from. Somehow, our vegetables taste better regardless. The fact that it's just they can go to the market and see the carrots. They can go to the market and see the fresh tomatoes. They can see the ingredients. It almost tastes better in the mouth once they eat it. So I think there is definitely an opportunity for us to be more mindful of our back gardens. We don't have to wait for another shutdown of our country for us to understand the value of buying local, supporting local, and growing what we eat. Producing what we eat. I think we've come a long way. There's a lot of islands that I go to as a guest chef where they import it from other islands from us. So I think one of the questions I've always been asking the question I don't understand, and I do actually a little bit understand why we can get more stuff from Martinique and regionally as opposed to consistently getting from Miami, which sometimes we don't know. We've been on the boat for 2 weeks before it gets here. You know what I'm saying? So, the cargo stuff is coming from us. How long has it been out there before we can produce it? So these are the questions that I really want to ask the questions. I mean, how can we be more mindful and get more local stuff in our grounds? I mean, that's the point I'm making.
Sheldon continues to have you enlighten him? Grilling or baking, the better form of preparation?
Say again?
Is it grilling or baking, the better form of preparation?
It's grilling.
Grilling.
Grilling, like grilling.
Yeah, grilling or baking, which is best?
For what? Depends on what you're doing. I mean, obviously, you're baking food, you got to bake your ingredients, your dessert or whatever, or bake it when you're baking. Obviously, I think depends on what you're doing, really, because again, your quality of meat, sometimes you grill something, and the thing about grilling, what's quite helpful, it drops the fat off. It takes, like if you're grilling a meat or something, it can take away the fat straight away. You put it in the grill and the fat will come out. I mean, again, depends on what you're doing. Depends on your product you're doing. I think if you're going to bake, sometimes it's a nice idea, especially come like a meat or chicken. It's good to use a banana leaf on your tray, so the banana leaf will get a nice moisturization. Sometimes you put food in the oven and you put it on a metal tray. The metal tray draws the makes the food dry. So I would suggest like people put them on wax paper. But this is a solution. We have banana leaves in abundance. I was in Singapore last year. There's a guy selling banana leaves. So selling banana leaves. We have banana leaves in abundance here. I mean, you imagine if you use banana leaf, you kind of grill it, you kind of grilled a bit of meat, and you have to finish up in the oven. How about go to the back garden, get some banana leaf, put it in a tray, and put it in the oven. The banana leaf would keep it moist, and it doesn't allow it to dry. I mean, before we had tinfoil, we had banana leaf.
Wow, I didn't know. Lyndon says, I feel the same way about sea bass. Some chefs over season fish and not tasting the beautiful flavors. What is sea bass?
Sea bass is it's an international fish from Europe. I mean, you get it in UK, you get it in Paris, you get it in Brussels. It's a European fish. It doesn't swim in these waters because it's too warm, but it's a beautiful fish. And he's right. I mean, I guess the thing is right for all of us is depends on where we're located. Like if I'm in UK, you have to say, okay, is my cuisine a European cuisine or is it a Caribbean influence? So we can influence a sea bass with a pinch of jerk or a little curry, but again, don't lose the essence of, because sometimes people do over season. I was saying to somebody the other day, if you put a spice in your mouth and it burns you straight away, it's put too much spice because it's supposed to kind of gently get into it. You taste it and the flavor comes alive. And if something burns you for the first time, you're never going to try it again.
Okay, with that, I don't want to cut you short, but what happens to someone like me who eats a lot and everything I do is highly seasoned?
Well, the thing that again, it's not about the island season. I think you have to look at where you're located and where you want to go. This is solution, and solutions influences the French influence in British. So it generally brought up on flavors, but not over spice. Your influence of chefs who have come into the island, people like me who have Jamaican influence, we like a look of spice. You know what I mean? Or Trinidadian influence, we like a different kind of spice. It's up to us now your stomach is telling you too much acid. So you've got to balance what you can eat and spice wise. I would say to even my dear cha as a way of not having too much spices and everything else. So I have to cook in a moderate way. I think the Caribbean sometimes get misplaced because when you come to the Caribbean, people think we're in Jamaica with Jamaican spice. I'm Jamaican mother, but in Jamaica, we do things slightly different than in St. Lucia. And unfortunately, globally, people's perception of the Caribbean is Jamaican cuisine, which actually is changing because we are now globally influenced from Barbados to Jamaica to Trinidadian to St. Lucia. But the perception in the UK and another European thing is Jamaican is the cuisine of sort. You know what I'm saying? If you ask many people generally what is the cuisine of the Caribbean, they're going to tell the first thing they tell you is jerk chicken. They will not tell you Creole fish, yeah? Well, some may do, but more people are going to identify with a jerk chicken or curry goat or Jamaican beef patty before they kind of highlight the things that we do here, like our Creole fish or bouillon and everything else. Huh?
Thank you. If you will, it's 60 minutes after the hour. Yeah. Interesting conversation as well. Before we hit, our final.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, okay, what Claudia said. Chef Orlando left out that the banana leaves were neatly cut into different shapes and available for sale. This is a great idea for our vendors to get into selling so who do not have readily available will know we can get from them.
Uh,
They were shaped into circles, rectangles, square, or
I
whatever
know.
size or shape is
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
We have as much in abundance in our island that goes to waste.
It
Again,
sounds like
this
it
emphasizes
sounds like a business plan for
unidimensional.
somebody in it. And I mean, as Miss Cha 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 is saying there, it's something that we it's not something I don't know about because coming from England, we used to buy banana. I used to know banana leaf back in the UK, and they bought it from Thailand, and they bought it in a box, and it's like it's like 4 banana leaf cut into neatly packaged, and they sell it for £25. This is like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So when I kind of skirt over it, it's not that I'm trying to take away from what the guy is doing. It's something I've been saying for many, many years that, we have many opportunities here, but we don't use them. And of course, we're quick to say, well, that's not available, but we have opportunities available with somebody with a creative mind. You know what I mean? But our banana leaf is definitely a business plan there.
And even the most important part, she did say, do not forget the nutritional value. Who would have thought?
Is that well? Of course. But who would have thought? The idea of banana leaf being nutritionist, and also as a chef point of view, I'm more concerned that it don't dry my food out. It keeps my food moist. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, there's banana leaf. There's other leaves which are available, and we need to just be more open-minded to try new things. That's the point I'm making. My other thing I'm big on right now is CMOS, which is again, she was telling Miss Cha 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 that she was one that's kind of introduced CMOS to me, but I kind of take it to the level now. We're using CMOS in cheesecake, in making CMOS in chocolate mousse. We're using CMOS in macaroni cheese. You know what I'm saying? The CMOS is such a, a healthy and variety, a nice way to use. And so again, Miss Cha 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 had a little word in that conversation.
It's been an interesting conversation for sure. And all that stems from just culinary. And over the years, I'm privileged to have had many discussions with you. And even among one of them would be ingredients without passport.
Yeah. Well, the ingredients without passport is kind of fun because how do you define our ingredients? And so when I say ingredients without passport, it's what's produced in a solution, what's produced locally or regionally. Supporting local. Ingredients without passport is a concept that we kind of try to find as much possible things that's not traveled nowhere. It doesn't come from overseas. It's right here. You don't need a passport to come from here to Denway or from here to Castries. So the idea, it's a little play on words though, but the idea though is about trying to highlight the ingredients that have not traveled so far, and they don't need a passport. And the definition of passport is a stamp duty.
Lyndon, Simos is brilliant. I take it every day. And it's also great for diabetics to reduce blood sugar levels.
Yeah, and that's where it's at. It has such CMOS for us in St. Lucia is a great product. It's getting, there's a book coming out, another book. I think somebody in the tourist board is producing a book, hopefully, which is going to again talk about CMOS and using in different variations. I think it's one of those ingredients which is getting a lot of airplays, and St. Lucia is in a good position as being one of the top 5. When I saw it a couple of years ago, top 5 countries in the world promoting CMOS. So I think we need to look at the benefits, the health benefits, make sure we're able to understand it. Don't overdo it because excessive is also a problem. You don't over excess in anything. But I think ultimately, another thing CMOS, another thing we can use as an exporting product, which we're doing right now, which doesn't allow us to be, which kind of takes a little bit, like 1% away from tourism. But again, it's a great export product. I think ultimately, St. Lucia is in a good place where we are. I think ultimately we need to think of how do we maintain our standards and retain where we're going. I know there's things happening in the next few weeks. Globally, there's a lot of pushing and shove. I think we need to be look where St. Lucia is and say to ourselves, we need to go forward. We cannot, and it's not political, but we cannot get to a place where we divide St. Lucia. We have to stand together as St. Lucians, and whatever decisions taken in elections, we understand is the value for St. Lucia. You know what I'm saying?
Lyndon and Claudia.
Both tag and team, eh?
Lyndon says, what other local ingredients are good for diabetics? And Claudia says, I feel we need to have a show on Simos by itself.
Well, Lyndon is my, I say, ex young chef, and of course he's written a book on diabetics. So he's written a book on diabetics. So he's asking the question for me, who is not a diabetic chef, to say. I think, I don't be an expert on diabetes. I think what we need to understand, how do we eat sensibly? How do we eat smart? I'm happy with Lyndon can share some of his opinions and what he thinks we should be looking at. But I think, our challenge is that if we can see where we are now to where we're going to be in 10 years' time, would we make a change? You know what I'm saying? That's the question I will ask a lot of people. If you knew that in 5 years from now, if you stop eating too much sugar, it's going to reduce the possibility of being diabetic, would we make a change? If we knew that if we can reduce on our alcohol intake, it's going to reduce from getting gout or something, would we make a change? We tend to be comfortable until we get a problem, then we start saying, well, I need a change. When actually we're already seen the possibilities that we need to do something before it already happened to us.
Which is true.
You know what I'm saying? So I would say, rather than try to identify all the diabetic after the event, is look at what we can do now in our dietary need to prevent us being diabetes. Is what I mean. That's what I'd rather say. Do we eat the fatty chicken every day? Do we eat, certain things constantly? There is definitely ways to make the changes in our early dietary needs and eat less of certain things. We in the Caribbean, on our plate sometimes we have macaroni, we have dasheen, we have rice, we have every product of starch on one plate. And some of us in the days of old, when you get up and run around, today you're eating that food and sitting back down. You're not even exercising to say, you know what, I ate a big meal, I ate a big meal of food, and then I'm going to run around and doing certain activities. What you're doing, you take the food and you eat and you sit down, or you eat the food the wrong time at night. So when your body then says, oh, you just retain everything, you don't even exercise or nothing. So I would recommend timing as well. Certain time at 10, 12 o'clock at night, and I'm talking to myself because there's sometimes I'm so tired I eat something, you know what I mean? But you've got to recognize, what do I eat at a certain time? And do I recognize that the investment I put in myself today is what the possibility is gonna show down the road later on.
Which is true. And Lyndon is giving me work to do, huh?
Hmm.
Let's do a talk show on diabetes.
Sure.
I would love to share my journey and inspire others. We have Jennifer Wilson. Continue to share the love both for food and the Caribbean.
Okay, that's another family affair with my older sister in St. Martin. Well, I'll be in St. Martin soon, so we will definitely. I look forward to my Jamaican ackee and saltfish when I come, Jamaica sister, because she's Jamaican, but she lives in St. Martin. So I'm looking forward to my ackee and saltfish and some callaloo when I come over there. It's something to look forward to. But of course, even the idea of being invited to St. Martin, which I kind of brought in the beginning, as a guest celebrity chef, is quite an honor, because not just because, but to think that I'm leaving my restaurant to go and show people the taste of St. Lucia, you know what I mean? It's quite I feel quite honored by that. So again, but anyway, apart from that, also I'll see my big sister. So and share the love with the family for a few days,
Nice. At this juncture, any other talking points? If not, any final words for your supporters and the community as we celebrate Creole Heritage Month, and especially the big day on Sunday?
Well, can I say that the big day is every day, if I'm going to be honest. But I understand the celebration on a Sunday, so I get that. What I would tell people before is that please eat in safety. Please eat safe. Please be mindful that the persons who are cooking, you have people's life in your hand when you're cooking. You're not just cooking just because you are making money. People are trusting you that you are delivering safe food, that they don't go away and have to have a problem later on with a stomach bug because you didn't do things correctly. So I'm giving a big shout out to all the people who are cooking in this Creole weekend. It is your responsibility as cooks, as cooks, chefs, to make sure that you consciously take special care of how you prepare that food, how you store it, and how you serve it. You can't make all the money all in one day. What does that mean by that? It means that you got to pay somebody to take the money. You can't be taking the money and cooking, serving the food at the same time. You know saying? So I think the point I'm making to you, you got to invest in your business. To invest in your business is for a day or two. It means getting extra help so you're not doing the cross contamination. You're not putting people at risk. I mean, so allow people to eat safe. Allow people to come to you and feel consciously when they took the food from you, they feel like whatever they're eating, putting them out, they're going to have a problem later on. So that's what I would really want to share. And please enjoy, because this is our time where enjoyment of our cultural heritage, like Creole, is critically important. I also want to give a quick notice, actually, a big shout out to a young lady here in Soufrière on a local JC, I think she called it, in town. That she does night times there. I've seen her for the last 2 or 3 nights now, and I must say she's doing a really good job. Again, she needs help sometimes, but I must say that it's a beautiful food truck I see in there, and it's really a great addition to Soufrière. Very clean lights and everything stainless steel. I definitely want to give her a shout out, and I think she's doing a good job there. I think we need to go and give her support, but again, like anybody else, we need to make sure she keep the standard and everything else. For me, I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to share with you this morning. Like anything else in business, we're just trying to raise the profile of the restaurant. But of course, as a person who lives in the restaurant, in the community, I want to at least acknowledge the community at large that we need to step up and make sure we do better. They tell me the tourism season is going to be looking very bright in the next few months. We'll see when it comes around. We're here to share with each other. And obviously, it's not about just independent restaurants. It's about hotels and everybody else able to contribute to the community at large. I think the big hotels are doing a great job of what they're doing, but clearly we need to also, they have the room beds, they have the beds, so they at least can share the love with the restaurant, the guests to leave the hotel, And for our independent restaurants, you have my number. I'm happy to share it on live and radio for 1758-489-6211. Please give me a call. I would love to talk about a way for us in the independent restaurants here in Soufrière to come together, because only in unity can we move ourselves together as a restaurant, And of course, a big shout out to my team, Anisha, the waitress, because I just kind of like was maybe thinking Anisha, and we've got Miss Jane, and we've got Miss Leo, and we've got Chef Andrina. These are and of course, potential new chef Gabby will come and join us. Clearly, that's a team. And of course, a big shout out to Miss Cha Cha Cha, as she knows who she is. And of course, like anything else, we have to thank God for the opportunity that every day we wake up, we have an opportunity to breathe.
Which is true.
And on that note, I want to say, we call share the love. And share the love is not just about the words. Share the love is we St. Lucia, STL, share the love. That's why when I keep saying it all the time, just people don't misunderstand. It's about St. Lucia. Thank you so much, and look forward to see you at Massey's store on Saturday afternoon, where I'll be doing a live demonstration. You can taste some of the simple flavors. No pressure. Just come and share some love and have a laugh, as we say. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. And Lyndon Wizard, he did ask, what's the best month to come?
St. Lucia can come any month. We don't have the best month. What we have is affordable months. So, no, well, the best time of the year is, I would say, the most, this time of year is going to be expensive. People are escaping the cold. So if you really want from any time from May onwards, is great time to come in St. Lucia. But anyway, any time of year is great. But from a tourism point of view, our high season starts from November to May, roughly May, April, where the room rate's a little bit more pricey, and the expenditure is here. But generally, anytime. And again, as my young chef, you don't have to worry about room rate. You can always come and crash at my room. So at my house, there, it's not a problem. That's not a problem. Of course, folks, just a quick note as well. Orlando's restaurant is reopened. We've reopened now since a few days now. Things are still really quiet, but we're open for business. And from Tuesdays to Saturdays, just make reservations, and you're more than welcome to come and join us for a solution experience with love.
88.5 Sofa FM. This has been an interesting conversation for today, and of course, with the renowned chef Orlando Satchell, Orlando's restaurant and bar. Thank you so much. Continue the good work. Continue to inspire our young culinary.
Very good. And thank you, Maria, for your contribution.
Have a safe trip in St. Martin. Definitely, you will let me know all about that experience when you return, and as well as Brussels. Somebody did say, where can listeners follow your work or upcoming events online?
Yeah, well, you can join us on Facebook. We have a link on Facebook, our Orlando's restaurant on Facebook. You're also on Instagram. It's called Instagram. You just put Orlando Satchell. Just put Orlando St. Lucia. You'll find me. I like to think I'm the best kept secret, but not really a secret. But I also want to thank you, Kabrina, for your contribution, though, because over the years I've been in this community, you've been a big advocate for giving me the opportunity to share my opinions, and I really appreciate that as well. And I think, SRDF is doing a great job in moving forward. And I like to say again, we at SRDF and the council and others community need to come together to get an opinions from our business owners. Our business owners need to hear from you. Need to hear from us. What are we doing? What do we want to see in interest, of Sufa? I mean, we have Christmas coming up just now. We need to highlight what is Christmas going to mean. We have these events coming up. We need to plan, but we cannot plan without getting an opinion from the business owners, and especially small business owners. It's not just about the hoteliers who are contributing. The small independent businesses are contributing to Sufa as well. And we need SRDF along with the council and everybody else come together and hear our opinions and what we in the interest of Sufa. Again, thank you so much, and big shout out to our district rep, Miss Emma. Going forward, keep sharing the love.
Lyndon, it will be a great investment to come. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the future. And you continue to see great interview, brilliant, very informative and inspiring. Oh, thank you so much for that. And Jennifer, awesome interview, great work. Thank you. And Sheldon did say, what's yours? Oh, I love that one, Sheldon. Thank you so much. What's your signature dish?
My signature dish is consistency. But if you want to really know, I know. I mean, but actually, I'll be honest with you. I'm glad you asked the question, because years ago I was always loving a pan-fried snapper on a breadfruit cake with an avocado salsa. Okay, now, and I mean, a breadfruit cake.
Why everything is breadfruit and dashi?
Because I'm trying to keep it local. That's what I love, and I think you cook a breadfruit down, and you put your season to it, and then you pan fry it. And then you take a snapper fillet and you just, season it very nice. And then you make a salsa with avocado and plantain salsa. And you serve that. I will share one. I think I've done it before, actually. So I will share it. But being of Jamaican mother, I knew about the snapper from a long time. And so this is one of the things I love. But the breadfruit gives it a nice, texture along with the snapper. And of course, it's done with love. First rule of kitchen: never cook in a bad mood. Second rule, if you're in a bad mood, do takeout. Third rule, cook for yourself, because you won't poison yourself unless you intend to. And the fourth rule, very critical for the Caribbean, salt and pepper is not seasoning. It's just salt and pepper. On that note, I thank you so much and have a wonderful morning and a wonderful Creole weekend. If you're in St. Lucia, we're interviewing our international guests. You're more than welcome to come down to Soufriere. And if you're in St. Lucia, enjoy. We are where you rest yourself and discover your secrets of the Caribbean.
Claudia, great job as always. Love that interview. He gets better everyone he does. You are a great host. Continue sharing the love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a
To the
wonderful-
listening audience, and of course, to all those of you who poured in your sentimental comments for this show. We appreciate and love you very, very much. Do have an awesome weekend and be safe out there. And like Chef Orlando did say, be very mindful of what you are going to be consuming on Sunday Genie Creole regarding food preparation, cross contamination, and we do not want anybody coming with or contacting any stomach bugs. On that note, it's been an immense pleasure. Thank you, thank you. I know you are that chef on a mission. I won't keep you any longer.
Thank you so much.
And let me enjoy my.
Oh, you enjoy, yeah? I'll make sure you
Yes.
share your comment,
Thank
Tech.
you.
Thank you.